I always believed that extra virgin olive oil was one of the most powerful allies for health and even for intermittent fasting. I used it every day, recommended it to my friends, and would say it was impossible to go wrong with olive oil. After all, who hasn't heard about the benefits of the Mediterranean diet, heart health, and longevity? But one day I discovered something that completely changed the way I see this food. A truth hidden behind many beautiful labels and sophisticated bottles. And unfortunately, it could be sabotaging not only your fasting, but also your long-term health, especially if you're over 40. Today, I'm going to reveal what I found out about extra virgin olive oil. Why many of the products sold as pure are not what they claim to be, and how you can identify real olive oil that will truly benefit your body and boost your intermittent fasting results. Olive oil is called by many liquid gold. For centuries, it has been the star of the Mediterranean diet, associated with longevity, cardiovascular health, and the prevention of inflammatory diseases. It's rich in monounsaturated fats, antioxidants like vitamin E, and polyphenols, compounds that protect cells from premature aging. And it's no wonder so many women, especially after 40, include olive oil in their meals. Whether to boost satiety during fasting, balance hormones, or protect their heart. But there's a detail that almost no one talks about. Not all olive oil that reaches your home is truly what the label says. And that's where the problem begins. Because just like with other famous foods, the olive oil market is also targeted by adulterations, blends, and practices that destroy much of its benefits. When I started researching extra virgin olive oil more deeply, I found studies that left me shocked. One of them analyzed dozens of brands sold in the United States and discovered that many, even with expensive labels and elegant packaging, did not pass purity tests in several cases. The olive oil was mixed with cheaper refined oils such as soybean, canola, or sunflower. These oils not only reduce quality, but also increase the amount of pro-inflammatory fats. Exactly what we want to avoid after 40, especially when we're doing intermittent fasting to reduce inflammation and balance hormones. Another common practice is using old oxidized olive oil, mixing in artificial coloring and even synthetic chlorophyll to imitate the green golden color of fresh olive oil. And to make it even more deceptive, some companies add flavorings that mimic the fruity taste of good olive oil. The problem is that when you consume this type of product, you're not getting all those antioxidants and polyphenols that protect your cells and your heart. In fact, you're putting into your body something that can increase inflammation, disrupt your metabolism, and even make it harder to burn fat during fasting. And if you're thinking, but in my country, this doesn't happen, the laws protect the consumer. I have to tell you, enforcement is not always as strict as it seems. And it's exactly this gap that allows low-quality products to make their way into your kitchen. You may have never thought about this, but olive oil also ages. And when it ages or is poorly stored, it goes through a process called oxidation. Understand it simply. Imagine cutting an apple and leaving it on the table. After a few minutes, it starts to turn brown. That's oxidation, a reaction that also happens with oils when they come into contact with light, heat, or oxygen. In olive oil, this process destroys much of the polyphenols and antioxidants, which are precisely the compounds responsible for protecting your body against inflammation and premature aging. And here's the detail that worries me the most. 4. Women over 40 who are already facing hormonal changes, lower insulin sensitivity, and a tendency to store abdominal fat. Consuming oxidized fat is like playing against your own team. It increases inflammation, damages metabolism, can even trigger spikes in cortisol, the stress hormone that sabotages fat burning. The worst part is that even when olive oil is oxidized, it's not always easy to notice by taste or smell, especially if it's been dressed up with flavorings or blended with refined oils. And if you're using that olive oil during fasting to boost benefits, the effect can be exactly the opposite. More inflammation, more insulin resistance, and fewer results. You've probably heard that extra virgin olive oil is a healthy fat and for that reason can even be used during fasting in more flexible versions, like what's called fat fasting, where small amounts of fat are allowed without causing a significant insulin spike. And in fact, when olive oil is pure and fresh, it can help prolong satiety, provide stable energy, and even reduce inflammation. For women over 40 who often face hormonal fluctuations and difficulty controlling appetite, it can be a huge advantage. But here's the crucial point. If the olive oil is adulterated or oxidized, the effect on your body is completely different. Instead of reducing inflammation, it can increase it. Instead of helping stabilize blood sugar, it can worsen insulin sensitivity. That means fewer benefits, more difficulty losing belly fat, and even more symptoms of fatigue and bloating. In other words, olive oil during fasting can be a powerful ally or a silent enemy depending on the quality of the product you're using. And the good news is that there are some very simple ways to identify real olive oil, which I'm going to show you now. If you want to make sure that the olive oil reaching your kitchen is truly pure and nutritious, follow these simple steps. Check. The packaging: choose dark glass bottles, never clear plastic. Light speeds up oxidation, and glass protects the oil's properties better. Check the origin. Prefer olive oils from countries and regions with strict quality control, such as Spain, Italy, Portugal, and Greece. On the label, look for certification. Seals like DOP Protected Designation of Origin or Cook California Olive Oil Council, closing parenthesis, look for the harvest date. This information is even more important than the expiration date. Olive oil is most nutritious within the first 12 months after harvest. If this date isn't on the label, be suspicious. Observe the color and aroma. Good olive oil usually ranges from golden to green and has a fresh, fruity aroma. If it smells rancid or the color looks too pale and artificial, beware. Taste it. High-quality olive oil leaves slight peppery sensation in the throat, a sign of the presence of polyphenols, antioxidant compounds that fight inflammation. By following these steps, you not only ensure you're consuming real olive oil, but also maximize the benefits it can bring to your fasting and overall health. Now that you know how to identify quality olive oil, it's also important to understand how to use it in order to preserve all its nutrients. Storage: always keep it in a cool place, away from direct light and heat sources like the stove or oven. Even dark glass bottles don't fully protect against heat. How to use: whenever possible. Consume olive oil raw in salads, cold dressings, or to finish prepared dishes. Excessive heat destroys some of the antioxidants and polyphenols. Temperature: if you need to cook with it, use low to medium heat. For frying or high heat cooking, opt for more stable fats like coconut oil or clarified butter ghee. Alternatives: alternate olive oil with other healthy fats to vary nutrients, such as fresh avocado, nuts, chia seeds, and flax seeds. These options can also be strategically used during fasting or in post-fasting meals. This way, you ensure that olive oil is a true ally in your fasting and your health, and not a disguised villain. Extra virgin olive oil can indeed be an incredible ally for women over 40 who practice intermittent fasting, but only when it's the real thing. Pure, fresh, and well stored. It helps reduce inflammation, stabilize blood sugar, protect the heart, and even support belly fat loss. The problem is that if you don't pay attention to quality, you could end up consuming something adulterated, oxidized, and inflammatory, exactly the opposite of what your body needs at this stage of life. And the worst part, without even realizing it, now that you know how to identify real olive oil, put this into practice in your next purchase. Remember, every detail matters when it comes to health, hormones, and aging with energy and vitality. And I want to hear from you. What brand of olive oil do you usually use? Have you ever suspected the quality of a product? Leave your comment down below because I'll be replying, and I might even use your story in a future video. And if you want to keep learning how to make intermittent fasting a safe and powerful tool to transform your health after 40, watch the video. That's on your screen right now, where I reveal the 5 most common mistakes that sabotage fasting. I'll see you there.